What if we could run faster than the fastest man alive? Usain Bolt. What if we could run at the speed of light? Could we even do that? He reached a top speed of 27.8 miles per hour, or 45 kilometers per hour. But this is far from the fastest speed a human can achieve. The fastest recorded speed of a human was achieved by Felix Baumgartner, who fell from a small plane at an altitude of 72,000 feet, 22,000 meters, and reached a top speed of 614.9 miles per hour, or 990 kilometers per hour. The question then becomes, how could we ever hope to reach such a speed? He survived the fall and was only mildly injured. There may be other ways to reach the speed of light, though. One idea is to build a magnetically levitating train that uses superconducting magnets to repel the magnetic fields of the rails beneath it, allowing it to float above them and move with minimal friction. So this isn't a very practical solution. But perhaps the most interesting way to reach the speed of light would be to find a way to manipulate dark energy. Dark energy is a mysterious force that makes up around 80% of the universe. But we know very little about it because it doesn't interact with normal matter. If such a train could be built, it could potentially reach speeds of up to 90% the speed of light. The faster an object moves, the slower time passes for it relative to an observer who is not moving. For us to travel at the speed of light, we would need to have zero mass. Unfortunately, this isn't possible, as even massless particles like photons still need some form of energy to propel them, so it would still require a source of energy to move at the speed of light. This means that if we were to travel at the speed of light, time would essentially stop for us. If we were able to do so, we would be able to travel at the speed of light and potentially back in time. This would eliminate the need to push against the ground and could potentially allow us to move faster than the speed of sound. Of course, anti-gravity is currently only a theory, and there's no evidence that it exists. However, this is only speculation, and there's no scientific basis for it. With a jetpack, we would be able to move in any direction and could potentially travel much faster than we could on foot. While jetpacks are currently limited in their speed and range, advances in technology could one day make them much more powerful and efficient. It's likely that even if we could reduce our mass to zero, we wouldn't be able to travel back in time. This is because the faster an object moves, the more massive it becomes, according to Einstein's theory of special relativity. As an object approaches the speed of light, its mass increases exponentially, meaning it would take an infinite amount of energy to propel it all the way there. One way this could be done would be through the use of anti-gravity. The laws of physics as we currently understand them make it impossible for anything with mass to travel at or faster than the speed of light. And it's highly unlikely that we'll ever be able to do so. Anti-gravity is a hypothetical force that would have the opposite effect of gravity, pushing objects away from each other instead of pulling them together. We would be able to travel back in time by moving faster than light. Whether or not time travel is possible remains to be seen, but it's certainly a topic that's worth exploring. A human cannonball can reach speeds of over 75 miles per hour. When they jump from a high place, it's like a building, and spread their limbs fully before hitting the ground. You see, Usain Bolt can only run so fast, because he has to push against something with his feet in order to move forward. This means that the ground he's running on must be moving backward relative to him. Another way we could reach the speed of light would be to use a wormhole. Wormholes are theoretical tunnels through spacetime that connect to distant points, allowing for near-instantaneous travel between them. If we could find a naturally occurring wormhole, or create one artificially, we could potentially travel to another part of the universe at the speed of light. That's 121 kilometers an hour. In theory, yes. There's no physical law barring us from doing so, but it would take some pretty monumental changes to our biology and physics itself to get there. Some physicists have even suggested that dark energy could be used to create a warp drive, which would allow us to travel faster than light by distorting space-time around our spacecraft. While this is all highly speculative, it's an intriguing possibility that could one day become reality. Let's look at the possibilities. We would be able to see the entire universe in an instant. Time would stop for us relative to everyone else, and we would be able to travel back in time by moving faster than light. This last one might seem impossible, but it's actually a real scientific theory known as special relativity. Usain Bolt holds the world record for the 100-meter dash with a time of 9.58 seconds. But these are still far off the real top speed of a human being, while these are still far off the speed of sound, just 767 miles per hour, or 1235 kilometers per hour, humans can experience speeds like this in other ways too. When astronauts board the International Space Station, they do so via a special vehicle called a space shuttle. When this vehicle approaches the station and begins its deorbiting process, it reaches speeds of around 17,500 miles per hour, or 28,200 kilometers per hour, which is 5 times the speed of sound. According to Newton's third law of motion, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. This is why rockets work by expelling gas out of their engines at very high speeds, allowing them to move forward with equal force. By putting a rocket engine on a skateboard, it should be possible for it to reach incredible speeds. If it could be propelled by a powerful enough rocket engine, this makes it possible for the astronauts to see Earth's atmosphere streak past them in what seems like slow motion. While these speeds might seem incredibly fast, they are still nothing compared to the speed of light, which is around 186,000 miles per hour, or 300,000 kilometers per hour. One way would be to use a rocket-propelled skateboard. The problem is that to reach the speed of light, the rocket engine would need to expel gas at the speed of light, which isn't physically possible. Of course, this is still far from the speed of light, but it's the closest we may ever get to traveling at that speed, since it wouldn't require any propulsion or expelling of gas. Unfortunately, wormholes are purely hypothetical, and there's no evidence that they exist anywhere in the universe, let alone near our planet. However, if we could find a way to harness its power, it could potentially allow us to travel at the speed of light or even faster. But what if we could somehow achieve the speed of light? What would happen to us? According to special relativity, time is relative, and it passes differently for observers who are moving at different speeds. However, this is only possible in theory, as nothing with mass can travel at the speed of light. But what if we could somehow reduce our mass to zero? That said, the idea of time travel is a fascinating concept that has captured the imaginations of scientists and science fiction fans alike. Here's the thing. Traveling at the speed of light isn't the only way to travel faster than the fastest man alive. If we were to find a way to eliminate this resistance, we could potentially move faster than the speed of sound without ever leaving the ground. If we could create a localized area of anti-gravity, it would allow us to move freely through the air without being pulled down by the Earth's gravity. Another way to eliminate the need to push against the ground would be to use a device such as a jetpack that would allow us to move through the air more easily. But even with all of these advancements, it's unlikely that we'll ever be able to reach the speed of light. So while it's fun to speculate about what would happen if we could run faster than the fastest man alive, or even travel at the speed of light, it's important to remember that these are just hypothetical scenarios. Thank you for watching.